This is Evangelist William S. Parson, shepherding House of Transformation, also known as hotministry.com. You have to put in that .com. It would help. Where Were You is a ministry where we take the lives of ordinary people and tell their stories of how they came through some extraordinary situations. Our goal with Where Were You is to encourage someone where hopelessness may have seemed to got into you. We want to be a light where darkness have seemed to overcome you. We want to bring peace to your life, to your heart, maybe open up a better way of life for you. This is what our goal is with hotministry.com. Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of Where Were You? And today we have a very special guest named Sidney Ella. How you doing, Sidney Ella?
I'm doing good.
Well, I hear that you wanted to tell a story, something that moved you, kind of grew you up a little bit, would you say?
Absolutely, for sure.
Well, would you like to share your story, please?
So I moved to Atlanta thinking that I would have this new mindset. I all of a sudden wouldn't want to do all these things that I was doing in Denver. But what I quickly realized is that it wasn't about my environment. It was about the way that I thought and the things that I was doing. And what really brought me to realization with that is when I ended up pregnant. And this was in the midst of all of my chaos. And when I found out I was with child, I was depressed for about 2 months. I cried. I remember sitting in the courtroom with my son. And that was really, really humiliating for me. I wasn't financially prepared, but there was a shift that was going on within me, for sure. And I was spiritually growing as well. It's just, I couldn't get the flesh part together. And at this moment, I realized that I really, really needed to get myself together. I got to a point where I was in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was about 500 square feet. It was me and my son. He was sleeping in my room. His crib was at the edge of my bed. If I'm being honest, I had bed bugs because I hadn't slept on a bed for years. It wasn't that I had an issue with my apartment. It was the fact that I had been sleeping in cars, motels. I was struggling for real. And when I finally got my apartment, I was in such a rush to get a bed because I was sleeping on floors, my car, couches. I didn't care where the bed came from. I just wanted a mattress to sleep on. And so when I went to the store to buy my bed, they told me that the only mattress they had available was the one in the showroom. And I didn't know any better. So I took the mattress that was in the showroom and it ended up having bed bugs. I was getting bit up every night. I would wake up in the middle of the night and they just be crawling across me. And it really hit me when I woke up one day and I saw my baby had a bite on his back.
You saw the bugs crawling on you, and that didn't do nothing for you. But when it crawled across your baby, then something registered. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I can deal with a lot. I can take a lot. I understand that a lot of my decisions lead to the things that happen in my life. So I could take that. But when I saw it on my son, it really did something different to me. I remember I woke up one day and I just said, God, I'm tired. I said, I don't want to be here no more. And that's when I started my affirmations. That's when I started speaking things that were not as though they are. And so every single morning that I woke up, before I even planted my feet on the floor, I would say, thank you, God. Thank you for my 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I thank you for it.
Can you just kind of rewind a little bit? What happened with the bed bugs, please?
Well, what happened with that is I had to get rid of everything. Everything in my apartment I had to get rid of, and I had to get new things. So that's because that's the only way you get rid of them.
But with 7 days to go, it seems like there was something that brought that dilemma up on you. What made it so stressful?
I was not thinking ahead. I did not take into consideration that I had a child who needed a roof over his head. I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And I thought that I was doing all of these other things that justified me as a good mother or a good parent. I was so caught up in the alcohol, the drinking, the living my life on the edge, still thinking like I didn't have a child. And that's the God honest truth is not like I didn't care about my son. I love my son to death. Just somewhere in my brain, I just didn't think to have our living situation in order. I had a very good job. I was getting paid $20 an hour. It wasn't that I could not make ends meet. It was the fact that I was spending my money on things that were just worthless. You know, I was not being responsible with my funds at all. I was not writing out my bills. I was not keeping track of things. I did not care if anything was on time. Everything was always late. And that's just how I lived. And, you know, to me, that was normal.
Not paying your bills, drinking, living on the edge, normal. Okay, so were you behind in your rent?
At this point, I was not behind. I just had to sign another lease. But another thing about bed bugs is that they live in your carpet. They live in places that you wouldn't think that they live. So it was a matter of I had to get out of this place, not only because of the bed bugs, but the company that I was keeping. And there wasn't enough space. You know, I had a child and 500 square feet, it just wasn't enough. And I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like my child was safe. I just remember it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I woke up out of my sleep and I just said, God, I don't want to be here anymore.
At this point, you weren't behind.
I was keeping up with my stuff for that month. I'm just keeping it honest. It was just a matter of I could have stayed there, but if I did, I would have gotten terrorized. I would have had people standing outside my car, you know, while I'm trying to go to work. I would have had people popping up in the middle of the night while my baby is sleeping. So this man coming to my life, providing me with these funds, feeding me, and I had went days when I didn't eat. I literally was waking up every day thanking God for my 2-bed, 2-bath. And then I would get in my car and I'd put my baby in the back seat and we drive around for hours looking for a place. And that's when I got to the day when it would be my last time getting ready to head out. I said, God, and you know, some people close their eyes, some people say a little saying, you know, I looked up, I said, what do you want me to do? And I got the feeling, I didn't hear a voice that said, Sidney, sit down. You know, I literally got a feeling to sit down. And that's when I started going back and forth with God. I said, Lord, I said, sit down. You want me to sit down. And I have 7 days to get out of this apartment. And I didn't hear nothing else. I didn't feel nothing else. And by then I had known God enough to know that when the Lord speaks, he speaks. He's not going to keep going back and forth with you. God's not going to go over things with you. He said it one time and that's it. And then I would spend so much money on late fees and lawyer fees, because when they go to file you for eviction, that costs $400. So I was always paying more than what I needed to pay in order to keep us afloat. Working in the car industry, I did read my contract, and when I saw that my interest rate was at like 300%, which should be illegal, but people can do what they want. It's up to you whether you agree to it or not.
Did you pay them on time?
Oh, I sure did. I paid them right back because I was,
See.
you know, that 300% rack up. So I made sure, you know, when I got paid, I paid them right back. I did some stuff that I probably shouldn't speak on. I was really like a person who looked for a shortcut all the time. Like it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It was like, let me figure out a way to finesse this or to get around it was my train of thought. But you can't finesse your rent. You can't finesse your car note. You can't finesse your electricity because eventually it's going to get cut off. So
That voice came and told you to sit your butt down.
sit down.
And yet you're still being stalked. You're still drinking. You're still looking for a problem. You're still not paying your stuff. Acting like a midnight special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You gonna just up and go.
Yeah, and I was gonna do that one night too. Up and just leave and dip out on my rent. And yes, with all of that going on, God told me to sit down. And that's why my bullheaded self went, sit down. How could you at a time like this tell me that I should have a seat? Like if I sit down, I'm going to be homeless. If I sit down, I'm going to continue to be stalked. If I sit down, these things are going to continue, Lord. And it was almost like God was kind of like, girl, like I said, put your purse down and go sit down. And that's what I did. I put my purse on the counter. I went and sat down on the couch, and I just remember I started praying. And it wasn't like, what do you want me to do? Give me an answer. It was just like, Lord, I trust you. I had that little bit of faith to figure out something, and I had an infant with me. And it wasn't just me that was going to be on the street or sleeping in a car or sleeping on a couch or sleeping on a hotel. I was going to be bringing my son with me. And that's why I didn't really have any trust or any faith, but I was very obedient
Well,
when God told me.
you had something because you sat your butt down.
I don't want to like lie to anybody, but it wasn't like I 100% trusted God. I didn't. I did not understand why God was telling me to sit down at a time like this. You know, it was so intense. It was so necessary for me to find another place. And the Lord was just simply telling me to sit down.
A lot of times God will tell us to be still. That little bit you're talking about that you picked up along your way, it was enough to save you. Why am I sitting here? What am I going to do? I know you couldn't have been sleeping well.
Oh, no, not at all. I wasn't sleeping at all. The Lord did not, I didn't get no feeling and I didn't get no answer. It was just do it, you know, it's kind of like do what I said do. Now that I think about it, I remember I called you, my dad, and I was telling you about the situation. And I remember you telling me to ask again. And this would be the third time because I had applied for the apartment. They told me no. I had went into the office and asked, and they told me no. So this would be the third time that I'm asking. And I remember when you told me, ask again, And I remember telling you, I said, ask again. Like, they done already told me no, and it was like, no, ask again. I didn't have any faith on this email. I just want everybody to know that. I did not have any faith.
On what email?
The manager of the complex told me to write her an email as to why I needed this 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. And so I wrote it very nonchalantly. I didn't have any faith. They already told me no twice, the same attitude I had when that girl beat me in the track race. Well, I thought she beat me and I stopped at the finish line. That was me. I was like, no, this isn't going to work. They're not going to tell me yes. I'm always late. And I remember having a conversation with you, my dad, you told me to ask again. And I was in like total disbelief. I thought you were losing your mind. I said, the Lord don't know what he talking about.
Everybody done lost their mind. But you. Yeah. Okay. Let's get that in there.
Right. So I said, okay, I'm gonna write this little email or whatever, and that's exactly how I wrote it. Like, and I hit send. The manager calls me and she's like, did you send that email? And I'm like, yeah, I sent the email. I'm literally looking in my inbox and the sent folder, and it was sent, but she never received it. And so this time I was like, really, you did not get that email? And she said, no. And so the Lord started to speak to me again. And this time God said, tell them why you need this. That's when I was totally open on this email. I told them everything. It went from, I don't even think you guys can do this, to, look, this is my situation. I had 7 days to move. And by the third day, the manager had called me back and she said, I just want to let you know that you're going to have your keys by Friday into your 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. Now, this is after been behind multiple times. And I really feel like if I did not obey God that day, when he told me to sit down, I would not have gotten the blessing that I got. And on top of that, it was a nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It was fully furnished. It had Black appliances. Like, it was really my kind of style. And it was in my price range and everything. And I literally was holding the key in my hand, I believe, because I had faith. Even though it was just a little bit, I woke up every single day and I spoke what wasn't as though it was. I woke up every day and I thank God for it. I didn't thank myself. I didn't talk to the universe. I talked to God. And I said, God, I thank you for my 2-bedroom, my 2-bathroom. I don't know where it is. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I thank you. And even when it seemed like I was at a wit's end, here I was holding the key to my 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
What would you give to a young lady that's living on the edge in another city, dealing with situations that, and I guess I could say this, I know you know better. What I hear is all you need is a little faith, the faith of a mustard seed. That's all you need, and you had that. How did you start loving yourself more?
I became a mentor for young girls. I'm a part of a nonprofit organization called Girls of Excellence, and I mentor young girls who are 14 years old and 15 years old. Some of them have to be there because of probation and things like that, and some of them don't. But I just started leaning more towards that than holding on to the things that were destroying me. And I started to realize what really feeds me and what really fuels my soul and what really wants to do better. I had to stop hanging around those people. I know I'm grown and can't nobody make you do something, but birds of a feather do flock together. And the company you keep, you have to be mindful of. I can't kick it with alcoholics when I have an issue with alcohol. I can't be around situations that can land me in jail or dead when I have a son that I have to live for. That's really what it came down to. I was thankful for God's mercy because he did not have to do it. I could have been laying in bed with people stalking me and terrorizing me, and not enough space for me and my son. And God just heard me say, thank you. I didn't have to get on my knees. I didn't have to speak in tongue. I didn't have to say any secret code.
Amen.
I just made a decision that I wasn't, I'm not 100% where I should be, but there's a lot of things that I decided I wasn't going to do anymore. I wasn't going to deal with anymore. And I was just going to do right, because I had been blessed so much. I would be a fool to get in that situation and to just continue on just the same old way that I was doing. So I made some changes. And I think once I got dedicated to some things, once I really got my son and really nurturing him, I think that's what really did it for me.
God blessed you with that son. You changed your life. And in changing your life, you've already altered his life. He'll have a better understanding. He'll have a witness that he can look at. He can trust his mother. He'll be able to trust what you say. I think you're doing a fantastic job. Although that was a little hard for me too, because I didn't know you were going through all of that. So you turned around, you got your 2-bedroom, and I had the pleasure of being there. The bed bug thing, I didn't know about the carpet and stuff, else I probably would have passed on that place. But I've been to your 2-bedroom and it was very lovely. I guess God kept on blessing you. I guess you decided to make some other decisions. You got your 2-bedroom, then you want to ask God for something else, huh?
Yep, I started thanking God for my 2-bedroom, 2-bath in Denver, Colorado. Because one thing about it, if the Lord did it for you one time, he's going to do it again. And really what I want people to understand is that you don't have to be in any sort of perfect condition. You don't have to be under some sort of alliance. You don't have to have lived your life right for 6 months or none of that. You could literally be hungover from last night and wake up the next day and say, Lord, I'm ready to change. Not, I'm ready to change on your way to the liquor store. No, God, I'm ready to be obedient to you. And God is going to bless you like that. He's going to turn right around and say, you know what? Because you have that little bit of faith that I asked you to have, that I told you to have, since you're being obedient, I'm going to bless you. And God's going to put people in your life. He's going to set it up for you every time. And I just want people to know, don't get caught up in the stuff that you're doing and, oh, well, I've done too much of this. The Lord doesn't want to talk to me. God hears everybody. As long as your heart is ready and your heart is willing to be obedient, he's going to step up and he's going to take care of you. And he's done it. I can't say how many times I've seen God move. I've seen him move in other people's lives, and I've seen him move in my life.
Well, you see the move in other people's lives. Okay.
That's where it started, for real. Because I wouldn't have never had the courage to have the faith that I had if I didn't see my father have his faith. And that's the God honest truth. That is the God honest truth.
Okay, I think we're going to take a pause. Introducing New Me, a very new product for your skin. And oh, for the inside? Oh yes, we have something there for you as well. Together, it is a health choice that I'm sure you will enjoy. Check it out. New Me.
If I didn't see it, I would have never known it. But I saw it, and I saw you, and I remember how you were, and I adopted that. I saw where I was, and I just kept telling myself, God's going to take care of it, just like my dad did. And God came through for me. A lot of us lose faith because He's not moving fast enough, or God doesn't answer you when you want Him to. But if you just be obedient and you just keep speaking over your life, no matter how bad it sounds, no matter how bad it looks, no matter what the enemy sends your way, you just keep looking at your situation and say, God's got this. I don't care how little time I have faith that God is going to turn this on.
Now that you have me all watery-eyed and everything, let me just wipe my nose. My nose, and I'm glad. I know that a lot of people probably don't know your father used to live a certain way, and I had to stop. And I'm glad for you. I really mean that. And now that we done went through all of that, and we done sat up here crying all on the set. Now, so you get your 2-bedroom. Now you want God to move you to Denver, back to Denver, Colorado.
Yep.
But this time, you didn't have to run around. You had your money. You were able to pack up. And I know because I came and drove back with you. You put your car, you packed up all your stuff, and got here, and God blessed you with what?
A 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and condo this time.
You be laughing now. Hey. God put people in your life. You went to Denver. You got your 2-bedroom, higher paying job in Colorado.
I did. I started off with jobs that were paying me actually like $2-3 less than what I was making, and I started feeling like I had made a mistake a little bit in my mind, just a little bit. And then, there was people around me.
Yeah.
You should have stayed in Atlanta. You had this good job.
Yeah.
All this crap. Because the people I was listening to, never mind. We're not going to talk about other people. I loved where I stayed. Absolutely. It just was a matter of, am I going to be able to afford this? Because I took a major pay cut, financially. But I came upon an opportunity. I'm making more now than I was in Atlanta. God has just been blessing me. I started my own business this year, and looking forward to starting my own nonprofit organization. I don't miss any meals. My rent is paid. So I'm extremely blessed, and I don't have any stalkers.
Sidney, I know that there's probably some young ladies that are in the same situation, worse or just like. What are some of the things, the key points that you could probably say to someone that could be in a similar situation?
Well, the first thing I would say is you have to want it for yourself. Number one, you have to want it for
Amen.
one. Because 100 people can tell you what's good for you. But if you don't think it's good for you, then it doesn't mean anything. So, number one, want better for yourself. Number two, you have to have the strength to leave those things alone. It doesn't matter how much money he gives you. how much food he feeds you, whatever you think is charming about this toxic situation, you have to really work on separating yourself and really get to know yourself. I've taken a number of years without even being in a relationship because I'm taking time to learn me. What is it in me that attracts these type of people? And
Wait. You talking about what's it in you that attracts them kind of people? How about what's in you that attracts you to them kind of people? Let answer that one.
And that's what it is. And once you can figure it out. You don't need a doctor. You can sit down in your own head and you can say, I like the liquor, I like the money, and I like, what he brings to the table. And that's why I keep him around. Okay, well, is that all you're worth? Is that all you're worth is $450? That all you is a bottle of alcohol? Is that all you're worth is some food? Is that what your child is worth? And when you start to think about that and what is really important to you, then that's when you can start leaving those things alone completely. Because you'll start to look at it and be like, what was I thinking? Why was I even involved in that? And that's, and it's just growth. Doesn't make you better than anybody. It doesn't mean, you're any better than anybody. It just means that you have realized what it is that you will and will not allow, what your boundaries are. And you're sticking to it. And if you don't do it for yourself, if you have kids, do it for your kids. If it's not for you, let your child be your motivation. My child is my motivation why I will not be in any more abusive relationships, because I don't want him to see me get abused, and I don't want him to eventually get abused, because that's what's going to happen.
And he might grow up being abusive. So it's going to go, and we can have a whole nother chapter on that. But Sidney, I am so glad that you shared your story. Is there anything else you would like to shock us with?
Know that God is real. Know that God is real. And the more that you cling on to him, the more that you invite him into your life, in every aspect of your life, the better your life will be.
Well, we thank you so much, Sidney. Sidney, being your father, I do know some things that has. I don't know if I want to know everything, but I know something, and even more so that you have stories to tell. Do you think you would mind coming back to Where Were You again and sharing another story with us?
Absolutely. Oh, look, I got plenty.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, we thank you, and we thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely.
Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today.